Behold the power of the PS5 Pro. On the left you can see Charles rendered on a standard PS5 model. Disgusting, makes you want to close your eyes. But on the right you can see him rendered using the new and improved PS5 Pro. Extraordinary detail with a picture so sharp it might slit your throat. Charles has never looked better.
What a month Sony has had, from shutting down trash known as Concord in 2 weeks after 8 years in development, to releasing one of the best games of the year, and now making the stupidest console announcement of all time, PS5 Pro. The PS5 Pro is what you get when these businessmen are out of touch with the very business that makes them sweet money. For starters, PS5 Pro is $700 or 800 euros, and that is without a disk drive and without the stand that allows you to put the console the way that they advertise it, both being things that the original PS5 already came with at no additional cost. When you add the stand and the disk drive to the cart, that brings your total up to $810 or 940 euros. What the actual shit? So now, even before getting launched, PS5 Pro now holds 2 records, one for being the most expensive console launch in history, and another for being the most hated one. You know, one of the best parts of owning a console is having a machine that no PC can ever even hope to match in terms of gaming at this price point. But when you have to spend 940 euros for what this thing offers, which is not much by the way, I'll get to that in a bit, at that point, just get a PC. Granted, you won't have visual fidelity similar to a PS5 Pro right now, but that's okay, because as you'll come to see, you don't really need it. Plus, you can do more than just game on a PC, and there's also the option to upgrade it down the line. Suddenly, PC gaming ain't that expensive. But what do you get after spending so much on a PS5 Pro? Well, the answer to that is graphical uplifts so small that no one in your entire bloodline will ever even notice them.
What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5.
Where? Are we looking at the same thing? They just copy and pasted the image and thought we wouldn't notice? This is not a $700 difference here.
If you're not interested in the technical details, you can skip to this timestamp on your screen right now, but for those of you who are interested in it, here it is. See, most PS5 games have the option of favor performance or favor quality. Favor performance usually runs the games at resolutions that hover on and above 1440p and then upscales that to 4K while also giving you a smooth 60 FPS experience. Favor quality, however, runs the games at native 4K with some additional ray tracing effects while targeting 30 FPS. The main purpose of the PS5 Pro is to run this quality mode at 60 FPS with faster ray tracing. Now, while using the PS5, most people, including myself, choose the favor performance option. Hell, Sony even mentioned this themselves during the presentation.
When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time.
But what they forgot to think about is why people choose it. Obviously 60 FPS over 30 FPS any day, but another part of the reason why players don't think twice about losing visual quality when switching to performance mode is because you can't tell the difference. People don't sit at an arm's length from their giant ass TVs while playing on these consoles. They sit on their couches or beds which are at a comfortable distance from their display. This is a PS5 and this is a 65-inch top-of-the-line LG OLED TV, and I'm gonna sit 1, 2, 3, 4 steps away from it, and I genuinely can't think of a single instance while playing a game where I felt that I needed to switch to quality mode. And not being able to notice the difference also extends to people who sit on their desk to game. Most gamers who use a monitor either have a 1080p or 1440p screen, but just to give our little multi-billion-dollar company the benefit of the doubt, let's take the example of a 4K monitor connected to a PS5. To be able to notice the loss of sharpness in display quality on a 27-inch screen where the pixel density is tighter than your mother's butthole, you're gonna need a goddamn microscope. All of this is to say is that compared to a standard PS5, you are paying over $300 more for minuscule graphical increments that you won't even be able to tell if they are present or not while gaming. There are already so many videos clowning on these unnoticeable differences, and rightfully so, because during the presentation, they literally had to pause the games and then zoom in 5 to 10 times on the background scenery to show the differences in quality between the PS5 and PS5 Pro. I don't know how no one during the board meetings for this thing got up and said,
"And who gives a shit?
Like seriously, I don't think I've ever met a mad lad who stops his game, stands up, gets to a kissing distance from his display, and then goes like, this patch of grass in the distant background doesn't look as sharp when I look at it from here. In layman terms, this console only exists over the claim to solve a problem that doesn't even exist. One thing I've also not heard anyone mention is how this console will enable lazy ass companies like Square Enix and EA to release more unoptimized games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Star Wars Jedi Survivor on the base PS5. This will cause a domino effect which will cause these games to run even worse when they do come out on other platforms like PC. So thank you Sony, because the only limitation you have removed from these developers is the limitation on being even lazier. Another kick in the balls is the fact that game releases on the PlayStation 4 are only now beginning to slow down. Developers still haven't understood how to utilize even half the power and potential of the original PS5, and these doofuses are already out here putting out a pro version of the console. Talk about not knowing your audience, holy fuck. We're at a point where development time and money is being focused on things that the customers don't even care about, so it's no wonder that the law of diminishing returns is in full force in gaming today.
And I've been saying it time and time again, but this is the absolute defining era of diminishing returns.
How is it so hard for these corporations to understand that hardware is not the limiting factor with video games today? We don't need more consoles just for the sake of some insignificant incremental updates to shit that no one will ever even care to notice. All we need are more good games. They done lost the plot, man. Like now I'm starting to get why people are calling this the worst generation in gaming history. Good AAA video games are becoming so rare that people are shocked that the thing that they paid to play was actually worth paying for, since most of the games we get nowadays are either complete piles of shit or movies pretending to be video games. This obsession over polishing pixels no real gamer ever gives a damn about is ruining gaming for everyone. No wonder Nintendo is doing their own thing and still absolutely destroying their competition with games that look like this. I'm just happy with the fact that people are finally voting with their wallets. I will give Sony props for one thing, however, and that is leaving the comment sections on, because the comments are the best thing to come out of this whole PS5 Pro controversy. As always, thank you all so much for watching. See you next time.